You are listening to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast following a 4-3 overtime win for your Ottawa Senators. I'm Ross Levitan. With me as always on the Postcast, it's Brandon Piller. Pillsy, were you worried?
I was worried. I'm not going to lie. That's going up into the third period, up 3-0. Felt pretty good. You know, it seemed like the Sens were controlling the pace of play. Anton Forsberg was playing good. They weren't taking undisciplined penalties. And then the third period comes around and things start trickling away. Seattle starts getting momentum. And this game got out of hand real quick. Thank goodness Josh Norris is back, though.
The talent it takes to tee up a one-timer when everyone in the building, from Chris Drieger to the guy in row Q in the 300s, in the press box, if somebody was sitting on top of the building, they knew Norris was shooting that puck, and to beat him clean, that's talent, man. Josh Norris, as I tweeted out at Sen Central, that kid's the truth in a milestone game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, 2 goals, and hey, you got to shout out Brady Tkachuk too, a goal and an assist. I mean, that's what you want to see from these guys. And anytime they get a chance to get clicking, it seems like they really are able to connect. And that's what we talked about in this morning's show, Ross. We said, look, Seattle maybe doesn't have a lot of those game changers, but the Ottawa Senators do in Brady Tkachuk and Josh Norris. And they prove it right there. Overtime, who are you worried about? It's Josh Norris. And like you said, he still gets it done.
For those watching or listening the next day, to run through quickly, 4-3 the final score. In overtime, the Senators earn a victory, but it wasn't without drama. Josh Norris opens the scoring, his 21st of the year, assisted, but great assist too by Brady Tkachuk, his 22nd, and Nick Holden. Ottawa leads 1-0 after one. They add to their lead in the second. Brady Tkachuk gets on the score sheet this time, his 20th goal of the year. Assists go to Artem Zub and Tim Stutzle. And then Parker Kelly, 2 minutes later, just beats Drieger with a wrist shot, 3-0 Ottawa after 2 periods. But as Pilsy alluded to, it was Jared McCann first, then Ryan Donato only less than 40 seconds later, making it 3-2. And
momentum goal.
They carried that momentum with Mason Appleton tying this game with 7 minutes left. But Pilsy, no panic, great overtime, although DJ Smith said exactly what I had in my notes, and that's those shifts were way too long in the extra frame.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. It ended up working out, but Timmy, he had a really good break and he wheeled around the net and then got absolutely crushed in the corner.
Yeah.
And
then he played another minute and a half.
I know. When he was skating back up the ice, I was like, okay, Timmy's going to get a change here. We're going to flip things around. And he just, I'm sure DJ, they must have been yelling at him to change, and he just goes by. But he ends up drawing the penalty, puts the Senators on the power play. And wouldn't you know it, Ross, you talked about it in today's episode. Josh Norris power play goal. How are you?
I think I guaranteed. Did I guarantee capital T it or what?
You did, and he got 2 goals. Unfortunately, Formenton didn't get my shorthanded goal, but I'll let it slide this time.
We'll let it slide.
Ross, I want to talk about momentum goals. Let's go back to the start of the game. Yep. Seattle thinks they've scored the opening goal. And once again, I mean, whoever the video guy is, get this guy a raise.
6 for 7 this year.
Only one wrong. I mean, that one that he got wrong wasn't great, but a 6 for 7% is pretty damn good. And what do? DJ Smith, you see the camera pan to him after, and he says, all right, let's go, boys. Like, we negated that. It's a clean slate. Let's really get going here. The next shift, Josh Norris scores that goal, and you alluded to it. That pass from Brady Tkachuk. I don't think we ever think of Brady as a great assist man, but that was one of the best passes out there because he had the patience to wait for Seattle to spread out. And I don't know what they were doing. 2 of the Seattle Kraken players on that right side of the ice just hanging out, watching Brady, and he sees that there's an opening and fires it right on the tape to Josh Norris, who puts it in backdoor.
Unbelievable patience from Brady Tkachuk, waiting, and then tape to tape. Josh Norris clearly has had a few of those passes, not only with the Senators, but going all the way back to the USN TDP, where they've been line mates for years now, and that chemistry has now continued into 100 NHL games for Josh Norris. An awesome feat for an awesome guy. I don't know if you saw, I want to pull up the guy's name actually, but there's a gentleman who was standing beside the glass in warm-up. Daniel tweeted out that he had a sign saying that he's 5 years sober and Obviously, it's a milestone not only for Daniel, but for Josh with his 100th game. Asked for a stick, and Josh signed it and threw it over for him. So just
Love to
shows you the
see
kind
it.
of guy, that Josh Norris is as well. So adding him back to the locker room, it can't be understated how important that is in itself. Adding him to the power play is a whole other story. And
Mhm.
fair enough, takes him a game or two to get his legs underneath him. But now look at him. He's got three power play goals. 3 power play goals in his last 4 games. And you add on top of it what he's done at even strength. And the Senators have their number one center. And people were still, even though last year he was looking good playing with Brady and Drake, people still wanted to say they needed that number one center. Well, this guy's played 100 NHL games, got 39 goals. I don't know what more pace you want from this guy. Wins faceoffs. He does it all out there. And it's number one center in my mind.
Oh yeah, case closed on that. I don't think. And Ross, now the beauty of it is we're confident enough in Josh Norris as a number one center. Tim Stutzle moves over from the wing to center, so now you're not so worried about the middle of the ice. Then you got Pinto, Greg, Gambrell, like Kastelik. Like now, all of a sudden, they're looking good up the middle. Now you're just looking for a little extra help on the wing. So you love to see that Josh Norris is fulfilling what we need him to do. And yeah, this next contract is going to be interesting. But I think it's similar to, you got to add him in there with Thomas Chabot, Brady Tkachuk, Drake Batherson.
100%.
Lock him up.
What does everyone say about Josh Norris and Brady Tkachuk?
Oh, they're best friends. Best friends.
Look at what the Senators just posted. How nice is that photo? Just the two best friends that the Senators get to have. How is that to little play on the
Love
riff
it.
of the best friends that anyone could have? Man, what an amazing accomplishment. And people are putting in the chat what kind of contract they think could be acceptable for Josh Norris. Joe Bell writing in 7 times 7.5. That's rich. That's rich. Don't get me wrong, but as other people are saying in the comments, like Michael, Norris is automatic. So, I mean, you got to pay for talent, and this kid has talent in aces. So good on him and good on the Senators, because Robert points out as well, 18-1-1 when leading after 2 periods. Certainly took a creative way to get there tonight, blowing a 3-goal lead before winning. But Pillsy, that they don't ask how, they ask how many at the end of the season. And to me, especially considering this is a team with still a pretty bad third period goal differential, because when they lose, they lose. I mean, they lost third period 3-0, so that goal differential didn't help out. But this shows to me the sign of a team that could shut it down. Now, it's not Guy Boucher's 1-3-1 system, but it certainly seems to be effective, whatever they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm so glad they're able to get this win over the Seattle Kraken. We talked about it. Their first game up against the latest expansion team, the Vegas Golden Knights, didn't go. Wait, wasn't it a 4-3 overtime loss?
Yeah,
So
it was.
it's
I
nice to
tweeted out
flip.
a little reverse jinx.
Exactly.
Let's touch on the penalty that drew, because Mark Giordano was not happy, and we know that other teams' fan bases have said in the past they think Timmy might exaggerate a little bit. To me, this was Timmy end of a shift that was way too long to begin with, but I don't know. I could see as a veteran having a 20-year-old fall like that in the situation of the game. I get why he's upset. But if Chabot's penalty at the end of the Vegas game was a penalty, that should have been a 5-minute major then. Kick him out of the game.
That's the thing. Like I'm with you, Ross. Like I can appreciate veteran guys being a little upset, being like, "Oh, this kid, like he doesn't have the strength or whatever." But when other fan bases get on Timmy for diving and calling penalties, you can tell they don't watch the games, because what I think of immediately is, remember in that game against Calgary recently when Noah Hannafin literally two-hand chopped him in the back of the legs, the ref standing right there, no call. Like there's so many instances where a guy like Timmy, a skilled, smaller, younger guy, is just being he's being bullied out there across the rule book. Like it's clearly a penalty, but I think the refs are worried about giving the call to the veteran guys. But he's not a guy that dives, not at all. I think he plays hard, and yeah, he's got a little strength he's got to work on, and he's a young kid, so a veteran guy is going to be able to take him down. I don't think Timmy dives at all, and it drives me nuts when people get on him about that.
We had a couple people asking here, Brian, he knows I'm going to have this stat ready to go for him. Yes, Brian. And I can't tell you any of the other ones tonight. Obviously, these update at the end of the night at NHL.com, but Tim Stutzle drew his 30th penalty of the season tonight. 30 penalties drawn on him. How many people do you think have drawn more than 30 penalties, Pilsy?
In the whole league?
Whole league. I'll tell you, only one has hit 40.
5 other than?
4.
Okay.
Including
Hey.
Connor McDavid's drawn 40. Pierre-Luc
I was going to
Dubois,
say it's going to be superstars.
No, Michael Bunting's third, but credit to him. He is having a great year.
But and Ross, this is another thing why I think it's so important to have Timmy at center, because he's going to be holding the puck more. He's going to be moving his feet more. He's going to be involved in the play more. And other teams' defensemen, especially a slow-footed defense core like Seattle, they just simply can't keep up with them. And eventually, they're going to have to take stick infraction penalties, hookings, trippings, all that kind of stuff, just to try to keep him at bay. And that's why I think it's so important to keep Timmy at center. Let him get the momentum, let him carry the puck, and bring those opportunities to draw penalties. And clearly, he's good at it.
Yeah, 100%, man. I absolutely love it. Just to finish the stat there, Anthony Cirelli's the only other guy with more than 30 drawn penalties. And before tonight, Stutzle was tied with Kaprizov and McKinnon. So back to your point about it being star players that are drawing this many penalties, and also star players that move their feet, as you alluded to. So awesome to see that for Tim Stutzle tonight. And he owes Brady Tkachuk a steak dinner, though, for that defensive play after his giveaway. I don't know what Timmy was trying to do there in overtime, where he tried to shake shimmy with nobody behind him. And Brady was also out there for a long time, but he found the gas and he put it into overdrive there on the back check, knocking that down. That was awesome D from Brady, a guy who gets roasted for not playing good enough D. Well, just show them that clip.
Exactly. And I mean, I saw in the comments earlier, if people are still worried about Brady being overpaid, you're not paying attention, because there's so much that this guy does. Like that assist, I'll reference it again. That's incredible. And that's something that's not really in Brady's usual toolbox, but he has the hockey IQ to be able to make those plays.
Yes, he certainly does. Pilsy, all right, let's get to our Sen Central standouts tonight, because I think it'll be 2 rings around the rosy once again here. Back-to-back great games for the Ottawa Senators. You could even go so far as to say the Vegas game was good until the result. Like, they played a good game.
Yeah.
So, hey, they're off the schneid, and they didn't do it without a little extra fireworks with the back and forth in this one. Before we get to our Sen Central standouts, Pilsy, how much of the percentage do you think Josh Norris didn't get, as we asked the community on our live YouTube postcast, which we do after each and every game, who should get the bike helmet and shades tonight?
Come on, it's got to be Josh Norris. It's got to be. Right?
94.
Wait, Timmy has it, right? So
Yes.
I bet Timmy gives it to Josh.
But we just said that Timmy owes Brady a steak dinner.
Fair.
Does he go that direction?
Steak dinner, bike helmet. Yeah. pretty fair there. All right, can I start with my Sen Central standout? We got lots to go around here, so I don't feel too bad taking the first one.
Yep.
I got to go Josh Norris. I mean, it's so refreshing to have a true finisher back on the team, because like when Josh Norris was gone, the Sens were losing a lot of games, obviously. But a big part of that was they were doing okay with puck possession on the power play. But who cares if you pass it around 30 times if you have no one that can finish it? And having him there, having him just sitting right, like he stands literally right on the faceoff dot. His 2 feet are in the dot, and he's able to one-time it. And the boys do a good job of faking that shot so that the defenders don't automatically go over there, because they don't want to give up that lane. So they do a little fake shot and smoothly slide it over. And Timmy did it the other game. You saw Brady with the tape-to-tape pass, a little different scenario, but being able to put that pass crisply on Josh Norris's stick. Crispy. He's gonna finish that. And if he doesn't score, then you got to tip your hat to the goalie, because the goalie would have had to make an amazing save. And just quickly, speaking of amazing saves, Anton Forsberg, maybe not his greatest game, but he made a hell of a save on that shorthanded opportunity with
ice pad
Yanni
save?
Gordon. I think it was Blackwell. Is that his name? Blackwell? Yeah.
Blackwell.
And they showed a replay of that exact same scenario happening, and they score on it. So not a great game for Forsberg, but you got to give some stick taps. He had to make a couple good saves.
100% agree with Josh Norris as the bike helmet and shades. And also, honestly, I want to say, do I have it up here as well? He probably wore the bike helmet and shades as good, if not better, than anyone else so far. I don't know if you recall, but it was so high up on his head. It was just a hilarious photo. I'll tweet that out at Send Central. One photo we do have ready to go, though, in the graphics is when he made his return to the lineup. What an absolute stud the Sens have in Josh Norris. But you got to have someone to ride shotgun with you. And tonight, it was Brady Tkachuk, my first Send Central standout. And not only was he the physical leader in this game, where I mean, maybe Parker Kelly could have a little word to say about that because he is a buzzsaw out there. But Brady knocked Giordano down on his ass behind the net. He was physical. He only had one shot on goal, which for Brady is very low. But when you score on that one shot,
100% shot success, that's all right.
Makes things a little better. It's also his 20th goal of the season. So Pilsy, he now has 20 goals in 3 of his 4 years in the National Hockey League. And a little asterisk, the 1 year he hit 17, they only played 56 games.
Exactly.
So, hey, but then you could spin that around and say he's only played 53 this year, 54 now after this game, and he's got 20 as well. So, hey, the improvement that you're seeing from the players who need to be good for this team to be successful is exactly exemplified by their leader, their captain. It's Brady Tkachuk, who had a goal and an assist in this game, was taking some extra face-offs as well. I don't know if you saw that for Josh Norris whenever it was his certain side, I want to say, but how many? I'm pulling up right now. How many?
3. He went 2 for 3.
He only took 3 face-offs? I felt like more. Eye test gets me there. You nerds, you win this one.
I got you covered on the face-offs, Ross. Don't you worry. Face-off guy.
Snap it around. But yeah, so I just loved what I saw. He played over 17 minutes, and man, he's the emotional heartbeat of the team. So I got to go Brady with my first one here, but I'm ready to go around for one more. How about you?
Oh, me too. And this is it. Parker Kelly. I mean,
unreal.
This guy, he was my backup locked on player before or after Colin White when we did the show this morning, because he's so incredible out there. And for him to be an undrafted player and for him to look, he's leapfrogged other guys like Kastelic. That's a guy who you thought maybe would have a better shot at playing in the NHL. Nope. Kelly's up here instead. Maybe a guy like Agazino, a guy with a lot more veteran experience. Maybe you think he gets some looks on the fourth line. No, Parker Kelly has grabbed that job and he's holding on to it. Like, we're going to see a DJ Smith, Parker, get a house in Ottawa clip pretty soon, I think. I mean, he's got a 1-year deal coming, a one-way deal
in
coming
2
up.
years, though, not next year. It was a 3-year deal with the final one being one way. So,
well, Ross, with the real estate market, you want to buy earlier rather than later. So if you get yourself situated here and get a place early for Parker Kelly, but he scores that goal, and say what you want, maybe that's one Drieger's going to wish he had back.
Yes, but we've said that before on Parker Kelly's shots. He's got a sneaky change-up type shot.
That's the thing. It looked like it was going to go a little higher and it would have hit him, but it just kind of floats down at the last second there. And I love that celly after. Like, Parker Kelly was fired up, and this is so consistent with him. 3 shots and 4 hits. Like, 4 hits, that's kind of a low night for Parker Kelly, but he does get rewarded with some extra ice time, Ross. Almost 11 minutes, which I feel like is fairly high for him, 2 minutes more than his line mates. So he was getting put out there a lot more by DJ Smith. And if anyone is a DJ Smith player, it's Parker Kelly. So, gotta
the
give
shift
him
disturber,
stick
man.
taps.
Come on.
He deserves stick taps, and I think the boys get really energized by him as well.
Yeah, they certainly do. And I'm going to be watching his former line mates there, Mark Kastelic, who I don't think is going to take too long for him to join him in the NHL. Going to see them tomorrow and Saturday here in Manitoba. Looking forward to calling that game. Check it out, AHL TV. I'll be on the call with David Foote, and I will be also at the morning skate. So stay tuned for a little extra content I'll get for you guys down there. But we're celebrating a 4-3 overtime win as we start winding down the postcast. We got a lot of people here, and we also have one thing to hit on. Should we save it for tomorrow's Locked On Senators? Maybe we'll make mention with it. Quick stick taps, but we have to talk about it more on tomorrow's show. Craig Anderson hits 300 wins. A milestone that he's personally wanted for a long time. That's amazing to hit it. And to do it against Vegas, which ironically, tonight, stick with me here. Tonight, Ottawa played Seattle for the first time. I mentioned when they played Vegas for the first time, they lost 4-3. Craig Anderson made 49 saves in that 4-3 loss. But hey, credit to him. Beast mode, as Stewie said, man.
Well,
it's awesome.
And Ross, especially credit to him, because when that COVID season ended, I think a lot of people kind of thought that was going to be the end of Craig Anderson's career. Unfortunately, like we didn't want it to end that way, but I think a lot of people were like, well, he's probably done here, but he doesn't give up. He goes to Washington, gets a bunch of games there with injuries and needs to be called up or put in from the taxi squad. And then he's basically announced as Buffalo's number one guy in the offseason. And he worked really damn hard to get here. And he deserves all of the credit because getting to 300 games, like this guy, like he started in Chicago. I can't even remember how long ago. Like he has been through the ringer to get to this point and well deserved. So we love seeing Andy have success on this show. Greatest goalie in Sens franchise history.
Say that with authority. There's nobody even close on the same planet as Craig Anderson. Complete star stick taps to him. We said we were going to go around one more time. You hit me with Parker Kelly. I'm going to go back at you with Thomas Chabot, a guy who took a little heat in the last few games here, especially during that losing streak. Some people saying that, oh, yeah, maybe he's not the number one power play defenseman everyone thinks he is, but no way, man. This kid is unbelievable. Almost played 30 minutes tonight, Pilsy. He was all over the place, had twice as many shots as any other Ottawa Senator, 6 shots on goal, and played 7 seconds shy of 30 minutes. So have a night, Thomas Chabot. He earns a shout out, too, on this show.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we go hard for the guys that come on our show. I will not accept any Thomas Chabot slander, and he continues night in and night out to be this team's number one defenseman. And doesn't matter what you throw at him, he's able to succeed. And 6 shots on goal. You love seeing that.
100%. Pilsy, final thoughts on tonight's 4-3 victory for the Ottawa Senators in front of almost a capacity crowd, but at least the restrictions were off and you could feel a little extra energy in the building.
Yeah, especially when they started slipping and then started gaining some momentum back in OT. You could feel that crowd was in there and ready to go. So my final thoughts just to wrap up is thank God they pulled through with this because we saw them squander a game to the Arizona Coyotes.
Although they're wagon.
Yeah, they are a new wagon. They just needed to wait till March to really hit their stride here, which, hey, everybody blooms in their own way, right? It takes a little time sometimes. But I'm so glad they were able to beat the Seattle Kraken in their first game against them, especially at home, because that's a very beatable team. Those are the kind of games where, like you talked about it, the game against Vegas, that was a great game. Sure, not the result you want, but then the game against St. Louis, another great game by this team. So for them then to drop an egg up against Seattle at home the first time there's no restrictions at the CTC, that just would have been so disappointing. So I think the hockey gods, they were smiling on the Sens here and they said, nah, we're not going to let this one get away from you. You're going to win this one in OT.
Couple milestone tracker notes. Brady Tkachuk is now 3 points away from tying his single season career high when he had 45 points in 71 games as a rookie. And
think
also,
he gets it?
Maybe he could. He could with a little bit of runway. And with an assist tonight as well, Tim Stutzle is now on a 4-game point streak and has 7 points in those 4 games. Wait.
Oh, yeah.
5, 6. Yep. 7 points in those 4 games.
Math and just guys. On Tim Stutzle, too, Ross, face-off guy. 7 for 11 in the dot, 64%. Woo! So that is slowly improving as well.
Awesome. And you know what else feels good, Pilsy? Beating a former Senators goalie, something that they have struggled so much doing over the years.
Yeah, Chris Drieger, suck on that one.
Brampton, get back to Brampton, pal. 4-3, the Ottawa Senators win tonight. Thanks, everyone, for joining the Postcast. Remember, you can subscribe to Locked On Senators wherever you download your podcasts. And stay tuned for more on the show tomorrow. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been the Locked On Senators Postcast, where we've got your team every day.